Hello, Chessnites. Magnus Carlsen recently played in the Superbet Rapid and Blitz tournament in Poland. It was a 5-day tournament with 9 games of Rapid and 18 games of Blitz between 10 players. So, all players would play against each other in Rapid and they would play twice against each other in the Blitz to decide the winner. After 9 games of Rapid and 6 games of Blitz, Magnus Carlsen was behind by 2.5 points from the Chinese Grandmaster Wei Yi. After that, a fascinating thing happened. He won next 10 games in a row to take over the lead. Since there were 9 other players apart from him, it meant that he beat everyone at least once in this amazing streak of his. We should also not forget that his opponents included young guns like Indian stars, World Championship challenger Gukesh, Praggnanandhaa, and Arjun, Uzbekistan star Abdusattorov, and experienced players like Giri, and of course, the tournament leader Wei Yi. He snatched the lead of Wei Yi after the 10th win and drew his final 2 games to win the tournament. An absolutely fascinating performance. Once he was asked to describe chess in 3 words, and he had replied, I am him. He is undoubtedly the best player of our time and maybe the greatest ever. So let's look at some of the key moments from his fascinating 10 game win streak. So the first position is from his game with Praggnanandhaa. Carlsen has white pieces in this position. So white is better here because white has double bishop advantage. The queen is active as well. So Carlsen's king side is a bit weaker because the pawn is on f3, but for the time being, it doesn't seem like Praggnanandhaa has enough resources to put pressure on that. So how should Carlsen continue? Once again, you have to remember that all these examples are from the Blitz games, so both players don't have that much time. So in this position, Carlsen played a4. What's the idea behind a4? Double bishops are there. So it's very important to go for the pawn breaks to take advantage of opponent's weaknesses. So in this position, Carlsen decides that in the queen side, he can try to put more pressure. So and as the move happens, we'll understand his idea. So of course, Praggnanandhaa cannot take this pawn because the knight would go. So he played b into a4 in this position. Now, Carlsen did bishop c4. He's not in a rush to recapture the pawn. He improved the bishop's position with a tempo. So Praggnanandhaa played knight d5. Once again, if he had moved the queen, say somewhere to f5 or something like that, then there is queen d8 check, and then this knight would go. So he played knight d5. So this threat has been dealt with. The queen is being attacked. Carlsen played queen c8 check, and then he recovered the pawn. The position has improved for Carlsen because the spin is there. This is also not that pleasant, and the a6 pawn is also weak. So then he captured the a6 pawn and combined with the double bishop advantage and this extra pawn that he has, and that is a pass pawn. This is just completely winning position, and then soon he won the second pawn. So now he's planning to push the pass pawn. Mm, Bishop d7. This knight is also under pressure. If knight a7 happens, then queen b8. A check is coming. If the knight doesn't move, then queen b8 pin is there. Queen e8 check is also there. And because of that reason, Praggnanandhaa resigned. So a key moment in this game was the pawn break that Carlsen went for to weaken Praggnanandhaa's queen side. And after that, yeah, he outplayed let's look at another example of his. So this time he was playing against the tournament leader, Wei Yi. So as I had mentioned in the earlier part of the video, before his 10 game win streak started, Wei Yi was leading the tournament by 2.5 points. So it is important that if Carlsen wants to score more, then when he gets paired against VE, it would be better if he beats him. And this was his opportunity. So Carlsen has white pieces here, and let's look at what happened. So we can say that white has a better position because Carlsen's rook and knight are active, and black's queenside pawn structure is also not that great. But on the other hand, if we look at it, black's pieces are also not that badly placed. So if Carlsen is not careful, then we might be able to get away with a draw. So what to do in this position? So he recognized the weaknesses of black and took advantage of that. So these double isolated pawns, they are quite weak. So he played knight e4 in this position. What's the idea? The idea in this position is that he wants to play knight c5 so that he can put some pressure. If the pawn moves, then he can capture the knight. There can be ideas in this position of knight d6, try to go after this pawn. And the knight was on f6 earlier, so he could not play rook g7 check and go for this pawn because the knight would go. So knight e4, an absolutely uh, amazing multi-purpose move. Knight c5 is coming, knight d6 is coming, rook g7 is coming. One way or other, something is going to fall. So in this position, we played king f7, stopping rook g7. Then in this position, of course, we have to remember one thing that it's a blitz time control, so time is less. So sometimes repetition of positions can also happen. So Carlsen played rook f6 check, king e7, and he played rook g6. So basically, if he does that, then he would, because of increment, he would get more time, and then later he can think how to make progress. So after king f7, then he went for his plan. Rook d6. He can't play rook g7, but now he's planning to play rook d7 check. So then we played rook h2 check. Of course, we have to keep the king active. So Carlsen played king d3. Then in this position, rook h1 was played. Just rook d7 check. And then, yeah, king d6. This pawn was gone. This is also hanging. We played king f5, hoping that he would do that and then take this pawn to create counterplay. And then he fell for that fork. No need to take the pawn if you can win the rook. So Carlsen, in a very skillful manner, recognized that these are the weaknesses, and he played this beautiful knight e4 move that put so many threats on Wei Yi that he simply is not able to cover those weaknesses. And this gave Carlsen the victory in this game. So now let's go for the next game. So this is white to play here. Carlsen was white, and his opponent was Polish star Jan Krzysztof Duda. So it seems like completely winning position at first for Carlsen because he's up a piece and thinks this is great. But we should not forget that Black is attacking this h5 pawn and Rook and knight versus rook. If no pawns are there, then it's a theoretical draw. So basically, if black captures the h5 pawn, then most likely he would be able to get away with a draw. So now, the in blitz games, sometimes we can make an easy mistake. Okay, my opponent is threatening to play rook takes h5. Let me play rook f5 and then let me defend this pawn. Yeah, but the problem is king g4. Now there is another attacker, and this knight is also being attacked. So you will have to lose that pawn. So that's because after rook a5 check, king g4, since this knight is also being attacked, you might play rook a4 check to remove the king, but then black would capture the pawn. Another mistake that could happen is you can play rook h4. Okay, let's just exchange the rooks in this position and then do something. Not so easy. Rook takes h4, knight takes h4, there is king g5. This pawn and this knight are being attacked and it will be a draw. So that's not something of what Carlsen wants. So now let's look at in this position. So what can be done by Carlsen and what was played by him was rook f4 check. So he's giving a check. He's first of all not defending the pawn. He's removing the king from f5. What's his idea? So king can only go to e6. Now rook h4 because compared to the line that we saw earlier, now if Duda exchanges the rooks, so then the king is not on f5, so it can't come to g5. And that gives Carlsen the victory because let's say rook takes h4, knight takes h4, king can try to come here to go here, no problem at all, king f4. The king cannot get to g5, and slowly, steadily, white will win that 6 pawn, and then it is an easy win. So rook f4 check, the important check to remove that king, and then rook h4. So Duda avoided the exchange of rooks, but if this pawn is there, then it is an easy win. And then they played for a few moves, but Carlsen won this pawn, and then Duda resigned because he recognized that yes, if this pawn was not there, then he would have chances, but with this pawn, there is no chance. So um, very nice technical win by Carlsen, because you have to recognize that the tournament went on for quite long, 9 rapid games and 18 blitz games in the span of 5 days, and this was the last day actually. So players would already be tired, and in those type of situations, sometimes some mistakes can happen, and because of which opportunities can be missed. But in this form, what is a mistake for Carlsen? It is going to be, yeah, one good move after the other. Now let's go for the next game. So Carlsen was black in this game, and this was, by the way, so his 10th win. So and till now, till his ninth win. So he had caught a V. So basically, he was trailing by 2.5 points, and after his ninth, after that win, so now they both are on the same points after 9 wins of Carlsen. Mm, and this is his 10th win. So this would give him the lead, because we did not manage to win his game. So this game was important for Carlsen from getting the lead. So his opponent was World Championship challenger Gukesh. Gukesh had white pieces. Now Carlsen played bishop f8 in this position. So his idea was that the bishop is not doing much here. Let's bring the bishop back to f8. So maybe the bishop can be more useful on the queen side later. It can help in maybe b4. Sometimes the bishop can go to b4 itself. So on the queen side, where there is where he has chances to create activity. So if the bishop is not doing something here, let's just bring the bishop here. So seems like a natural move. Yeah, but he missed a brilliant move actually that was played by Gukesh. Rook takes d6, a rook sacrifice. So what's the plan of Gukesh? So if Carlsen captures this, then he will get crushed, because bishop takes d6 check. The king can only go to e7, and now what to do? f5. Yes, this bishop also joins in, and the game would be over, because let's say if Carlsen moves this, then there is bishop g5 check, and you would have to play something like knight f6 just to save that, and that's just too much, because he can take it, he can even take the rook. That's just lost. So and if he, let's say in this position, if he does not move the queen, then the problem that would happen is after bishop g5 check, there would be, he would lose the queen. So Carlsen allowed rook takes e6, but of course he did not play f takes e6, because that would give a completely lost position. This is a bad position, but yes, he can still fight. So he played knight c4 in this position. Now, so here, Gukesh made a mistake. So what Gukesh should have done in this position is he should have played bishop takes e4. Take that knight. Now, of course, Carlsen can capture the rook after this, because now the bishop is not there. But that's not a problem. Gukesh can actually bring the bishop back and attack this pawn. And if king f7, rook g1, keep up the pressure. So rook g8 and then queen g2. This pawn would fall, and Gukesh has really good attacking chances in this position. I would, yeah, I think if I would have to say, then if this position had happened, then there's a really good chance that he would have went on to win. So, but it it was Carlsen's day. So even at times when he made mistakes, the opponents also made the mistakes and gave him some chances. So of course, fortune favors the brave, and this time, so Carlsen was on a win streak of 9 games, and I think the goddess of chess, Kesa, wanted Carlsen to continue the win streak. So Gukesh did not play bishop takes e4, and he played queen g2. So seems like a strange move that we did. Did Gukesh just blunder the bishop like this? No, of course he would not do that. So because if this tempting bishop is captured, then he had a very nasty idea in his mind. That is rook takes e6 check. So the point being that if the rook is captured, then there is bishop g6 check, king e7, queen g5 check, knight f6, queen f6. The position remains extremely complicated. So this is what Gukesh might have calculated when he played knight takes e3. But Carlsen played an absolutely brilliant move. So it's very important that your opponent can give you chances, but are you ready to seize the chance? So and many times we don't. But here it is Carlsen. Of course, he will seize the chance. So in this position, he played knight d takes e5. So like, wait, what is he doing? Why is he giving up the knight for a pawn? What is he achieving? He is creating an escape square for the king. That's what he is achieving. Because now in this position, if f takes e5 happens, knight takes e3, the same idea as before. Then it's like, okay, why not rook e6 in this position like earlier? We have to compare this. In the earlier line where he had not sacrificed it, that knight where he could not get the opportunity, the knight is on d7. Very important to understand the difference. Here, the knight is not on d7. So what happens after f takes e6? Queen g6 check happens. He doesn't need to go to king e7. He can escape through d7. And now, so if this say queen f7 check happens, is bishop e7 or queen e7, and he's up a full rook in this position. So knight d takes e5. We found this fantastic resource for the king to get escaped in this line and get the advantage. So Gukesh in this position played rook g3. He recognized that he cannot take this. The sacrifice is not working, so he defended the bishop, but that gave Carlsen the advantage in this position because the pawn structure is not that great. This knight is very well placed on c4, so Gukesh played this to remove the knight, but then that makes his pawn structure extremely weak. So then Carlsen won this pawn, and then he made his king safe. So of course the king is not like completely safe, but it's compared to being in the center, it's still safe. And this is slowly but steadily. So we'll just quit the game. So slowly but steadily went. So he's up a pawn. This is the pass pawn. The pawn structure of Gukesh is also not that great. So on this pawn, this is just a masterful technique display by Carlsen. He will not let this opportunity go. Pushing the pass pawn, he's 3 pawns up. So slowly but steadily, he's squeezing Gukesh. The pawn reached on the second rank. He played this king a7, threatening this. And then Gukesh had enough and he resigned in this position. So Carlsen, after his 10th win, got the lead, and then he drew his next two games, and we actually yeah could not catch him, and Carlsen became the eventual winner of the tournament. And so I must say that we are lucky to witness such an amazing performance by Carlsen, and I hope that you enjoyed these key moments of his win streak. So thanks everyone for joining.